What's going on, guys? We're here at Sunday Studios here located in Torrance. We're gonna go through their blank program, their design firm, and basically everything that Sunday Studios does. So
I'm excited for this one for sure.
So we're here at Sunday Studios and I'm here with
Josh.
How is Sunday run? What do you do here?
I run a lot of things, but mainly operations and business development. In terms of what we do here, again, it's fucking endless. It's a creative studio at the core of it. And like as we walk through here, we have multiple brands, 3 IP brands out of here, about to be 4. And everything that we do for a brand, we offer as a service to our clients. It's really revolving around design and product development.
All right, guys, so they definitely are a design firm that have curated and created brands like Some Kids, right? That's in
Exactly.
Zoomies.
Zoomies, yeah. Just opened all doors in Zoomies.
Yeah, so how's making the brand and then getting Zoomies in on it? Like, how's that?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, in that situation, we got pretty blessed. Zoomies actually knocked on our door and they wanted Bloody Sunday and Sunday in there, but we don't want to place that into retail yet. We want to, keep the demand on that. So we had the IP that we had been sitting on. And so we're just like, well, we have this sitting on the shelf, and presented it over to them and then went through the whole process of, going back and forth in terms of going through the contract with them, what the marketing is going to look like, what the rollout's going to be. I mean, from the time we had a conversation to the time we launched, probably 9 months. But yeah, it's incredible to walk into the mall and see your product sitting on the shelf. Like, to me, that's absolutely bizarre. That's the one for us that I think, like selling out on our drops online is one thing, but like physically going into a retail store, into a local mall and just seeing product.
And then having like Zoomies like come after you guys is like, that's like pretty huge, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Especially, I mean, the owner, Jesse, he's big skate kid. So that's literally a dream come true to him. In here's the boring stuff. This is office spaces. We got an editing bay in here. That's really just like a media strategy room in there. We have all of our media equipment in here.
So how many people like run Sunday Studios?
Really the way that we have it structured is everybody that works in here wears multiple hats, and we all just act as quarterbacks. So we have a lot of contractors on the surrounding, but we have 7 full-time employees that work here. But everybody understands the business model and can move a project forward. That's the only way that we feel like it's worth it to hire, is to make sure that somebody can do every step of the process and then kind of niche into like a specific role.
Everyone here is well versed and like they know from A to Z what the goal is.
For the most part, within their lane. We do a lot of contractor work just because creatives sometimes you need this mind for this project, this mind for this project. So
that's wild. And Tyler, what do you do here?
I direct the studio. I make sure projects get done on time and within budget. So whether that's like client comes in, I have to build the team to make sure the project gets done, or it's working with our design team, with our media team, with the sourcing team, the product team, and making sure same thing. Projects get done on time. And I always say I don't have any technical skills. I don't design. I don't hold a camera. I don't build websites or anything like that. But I have a pretty good understanding of everything involved to get a project done, and can make sure that there's a team involved to get it done. So
awesome. And just to kind of like dive in on a little bit of your backstory, how did you kind of like get into this like field of work? Like, how did you get in the industry?
I went to school for economics in Chicago at Northwestern. I was doing a lot of investment banking, finance work. Just wasn't enjoying it. People I worked with, I was, if I ended up anything like them in 20, 30 years, I was like, that's a bummer. So, and it was just stale. It was a stale environment. So yeah, I didn't enjoy it. So I tried to find something more creative. That led me to just kind of reaching out. And when I first moved out, it was like 3.5 years ago, just started doing full send Nelk stuff, picking up on the merchandising thing. And then, Jesse exited and me and Josh went with him.
So you guys both came from Full Send?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been building day one.
Amazing.
Yeah, this office used to have like 20, 25 employees with full send, and then it went down to just me, Jesse, and Josh. So
keeping the family close. I love that.
So now scaling it out is we're much more cautious and intentional. And the route that we want to scale it out is because it got madness during those days. You start getting, I feel like, above 10 into 20, moving beyond that, you start going more corporate mindset. I feel like you lose the culture, and that's what we cherish during this time, how hard we work is like keeping it very friend oriented to a degree, that we come in here and we can enjoy each other's time in here.
How did you get into the industry?
My background's actually in medicine. So my undergrad degree is in exercise science. I was actually in medical school, completed 2 years. During COVID, mutual friend did business development for Full Send. During that time, I took a week off from medical school, said I had COVID, came out here, had an informal interview for it, got the job accepted, and then like 4 months later, I left medical school and I came out here. Started working with Jesse for Full Send, and then been building this since day one with him. Yeah, this is where it's more fun out here.
Holy fuck?
Business in there, enjoyment out here.
Bro, this is giving me like Fantasy Factory vibes, bro.
There's definitely a lot of inspiration from that with Jesse.
It used to be full skate park in here. During the full Sundays, quarter pipe here, quarter pipe there, rails and boxes through here. It would literally be, I don't know, 10 people in here just skateboarding.
Me and Jesse get in here and do a little MMA every once in a while. I haven't been on it in a while, but
Who's beating who on the MMA mats?
I came from wrestling.
Yo!
I wrestled through college.
You got me all day, bro.
I'm the only person that takes him down.
Oh, love that.
I wouldn't even try.
How long have you guys been here then?
We are going into year 4 here.
So why the color green you guys got?
Going through the process of like, it was from, you know, the little army men.
Yeah.
That was
Close
it was
to that.
Close to that.
But
So
the
that-
reason being was because, you know, we couldn't trademark Sunday. And we can't put Sunday in anything. So we wanted something that would, you know, represent the brand. You know, when people see Tiffany blue, they think of Tiffany. When people see John Deere green, they think of John Deere. That's kind of the goal with the color, because we can't use Sunday in anything. That's also why we put the stars on things, and there's a deeper story behind that too.
Tell us about what's over here. All right, so I take it some kids, this is your brand that you guys just launched in Zoomies, right? So how is it working with like a brand like Zoomies? Like how does the whole like process kind of like happen? They obviously reached out to you guys, and then what was like the next step?
Josh works up some type of agreement. Once that's settled, it's just, you know, they have a team of buyers on men's and women's side, and you know, we deliver over a bunch of designs.
Yeah. How many designs are those?
I mean, for the first one, it was probably, I have a whole board, there's probably hundreds, but like probably only delivered, you know, 20 or 30 or something like that. And then they'll come back with some feedback. Hey, we want to see this, we want to see that, we don't like that. But yeah, so it's just working with them. You deliver a line sheet, they make their picks, they distribute across the stores that they think will perform best. And that's just kind of how.
Yeah, and then just kind of rinse and repeat.
Yeah, rinse and repeat. And once the time comes, they request another line sheet and keep going.
Awesome.
Yeah.
This is Bloody Sunday, yeah. This is the baby. This is the main engine of it all is Bloody Sunday and the merchandise associated with this. What you're looking at here is our core collection. So we haven't launched all these colorways. We launched these in our first wave. And yeah, it's just pretty basic, just tonal, got a silicone patch on it onto our standard hoodie. The idea with this is just to create some everyday wear that, you know, people that aren't so into like graphic based or like graphic heavy design. And if they, you know, like our blank, you can just rock our blank and it's not too over the top.
Yeah, and then this looks like a French terry?
French cherry, yeah. It's definitely in the streetwear. I mean,
for sure, this is definitely like a streetwear style blank.
This makes it pretty unique too. We have like a hidden kangaroo pouch here, so
Oh shoot, I didn't even see that.
no pocket on, you know, on the front.
they do got a hidden look.
Kind of more real estate for people to print on, you know.
It's dope because this is definitely like the trend now. Is the French terry, the, you know, oversized look, the core essential hoodie. You know, not too much branding, but enough branding where it's like you're repping that brand, you know. So
that was our first venture into like selling every day. So like, you know, been drop style forever, and Jesse's background full send, always drop style. So this is the first, you know, we just launched this and we're finally doing little paid ads behind it and having fun with it and see what other product lines we can eventually add to that. We have an athletic line that's going to come out next month that will probably operate similarly.
And then kind of just to go back into it, how many brands is like Sunday Studios, like how many brands are under that?
I mean, Sunday Studios, you got Sunday and Bloody Sunday, you know, where it all started. You know, you've got Some Kids. We're launching a cannabis brand next month. And then, you know, like, this is still Bloody Sunday, but core program is pretty much its own business.
And the athletic line.
And the athletic line will eventually. But that's kind of the goal here. We started it with Sunday and Bloody Sunday, but it's like long-term vision of the studio is kind of like incubating brands, whether it's like, you know, more in the venture space where we find, you know, really good partners to launch a cannabis brand. You know, we're not experts in cannabis, but we're experts in brands and design and how to build a community around something.
You use the word IP a lot. What does it mean to you guys to build and own the IP yourselves? I feel like not a lot of people bring up IP, and I think that that's kind of like a really important thing. And you guys say you're a design studio, you know, so do you really focus more on building and owning your own IP, or do you guys like kind of outsource your design work and your resources, you know? Like, what does that mean to you?
That's a great question. And to me, I think IP is everything. If you're thinking about an exit and you want to sell, if you don't own the trademarks or the rights to something, good luck selling it. At least you're not going to sell it for as much. So we start everything when we're creating a project, like Some Kids or even Bloody Sunday Sunday, anything that's in-house IP, we're looking at the trademarks. We're looking at all the different touch points, making sure that, we can grab those, and then making sure that, we can have as much ownership of this property and eventually grow it to, one day have the potential to have an exit to it. And then on the design, on the studio side, we do paid services now. So everything is project-based, paid service. You want a 6-piece collection, you want us to manufacture, set you up a 3PL, et cetera, et cetera. It comes at this cost. But the real goal here is to be able to move towards more of a venture studio model, meaning that, we're, say, attaching, a big influencer or a group of influencers, and we're building this, IP in the background. Like Tyler said, their expertise is in design, community building, marketing. So all the, thing that meets the consumer eye is we can handle. And then when you match that with the correct marketing, I feel like, it can go to the moon. So right now it's paid, but, it's slowly starting to work towards either profit share or split ownership within a project. But, we're still a startup in my mind at the end of the day. So, in any business, cash flow is king. But once you get bigger and the cash flow is there, then you can slow your roll and take a chance to, own more IP.
We do a lot of the paid services to, keep the lights on and stuff like that. But when the opportunity presents itself and we have a team that has enough time to handle it, and we can, find really good partners like the cannabis brand that we're going to launch, or, something like that, spinning it off pretty quickly, and finding Zoomies, kind of fell into that. But once you have, proper funding and we can take, calculated risks to start more brands that we own and operate, that's the long-term goal for sure.
Yeah, you mentioned you guys just kind of like pulled this out of the vault. Zoomies reach out to you and you kind of pulled Some Kids out of the vault. So like, do you have like a lot of kind of IP projects that you're constantly working on that you just keep in storage, wait for the perfect kind of alignment to bring them together, or what is that?
Yeah, so we do have other IP that's sitting on the shelf. I wouldn't say it's like a massive amount, but there are some projects that Jesse's ideated out, sat with the design team for a few days, really just kind of got like a rough shell of what it is, and then it just sits there. And then eventually we'll meet this partner that's like an expert in this space, and we'll be like, hey, like we already have this concept, we'll put it into deck form, we'll pitch it, and then try making it easiest path forward for everyone. Because if we were trying to launch cannabis brand, for example, we tried doing the legwork and everything with that, there's no possible way we want to be able to focus on this. So it's finding someone where it's like makes everybody's life easier. And on the flip side, they don't know how to do what we do. So it's a perfect partnership in those types of situations.
For the cannabis brand, did you guys already kind of have that laid out before you had them reach out to you, or was that just kind of
hooked up with one of our really good friends, Rama? He was just kind of a fan of us, watched our content, and eventually connect with him over Zoom and had him come in, and we just had a relationship with him. And I think he's the Godfather of weed. He owns Hall of Flowers, which is a big cannabis trade show, and started a lot of big reputable brands that you see in cannabis now, and I think sold his agency to Gary Vee for weed marketing and all of that. So that was another one where we're blessed enough to have the reach here, where somebody just enjoyed us and wanted to, we just had a relationship for a while, and then he's like, hey, I want to start this thing with you guys. So took advantage of that.
That one was actually the opposite. Rama actually had the shell of that concept sitting on his shelf. We took it and just completely revamped it, but he had it sitting on his shelf. So sometimes it works like that as well. Like we sat down and we're like, do we start from scratch? Or like he has a few on his shelf in the cannabis space specifically, and we looked at those, and it's like choosing like a used car that you want to put some new wheels on. So that was kind of how that one worked.
Yeah, so it seems like you kind of really got to be on your toes in this specific environment for you guys, because you can have the script planned out, but sometimes someone's just going to hit you with the curveball, and you're just ready to adapt. You're taking opportunity whenever you can.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we get a lot of people that knock on our doors for different projects, pitching us this, pitching us that. So it's like that's the other side too, is you see so many different pitches that you get, that it's like it's such a small percentage of things that we'll actually bite on. Yeah. We just have to be so mindful of our time at this point.
So it's not hard to say no.
No, we say no way more than we say yes.
Oh damn! You guys got a half pipe. Holy fuck!
Oh, so Jesse's background is skateboarding. He's had this half pipe, man, probably like 6 years. He got it built like when he first had his come up in full set, just so he had somewhere that he could skate on. And yeah, talking to that man, I think he'll have a half pipe with him, until he can't skateboard anymore. But I used to skateboard. All of us used to roll around in here and skateboard. I don't know how he still does it. I took one fall, busted the hip.
I'm like a big boy, so like anything or I'm like uneven, I'm doomed. You know, I'm fucked.
We get people that come in, don't skateboard, and they're like, "Oh, I want to drop in." I was like, "No, please."
He did that.
Shane did it.
Shane has
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, that's not for us. We got this, the set.
Kind of like a movable set, whatever.
Holy fuck! What? Look at Jesse, bro.
That's Jesse probably 18 months ago, maybe.
No
maybe
way.
maybe 2 years ago, somewhere in that range, yeah. And he always cracks up because even in that picture, he thought he was looking good. I think somebody here printed that out as a joke to him to just like.
I printed it out.
Oh, you did? Yeah, I think that's what it was. But now he thinks it's hilarious.
Did you guys fuck with it, like Photoshop it?
No.
That was me.
You fuck up. 1 week, this is what happens.
So this is like a set then, right? So then you guys are also building out like TV shows and like stuff like that?
We do some media work, commercials and things of that nature, but right now it's just being used for a new show that Steve and Jesse are starting together, started a new channel and having fun with it. So they've been shooting that every Friday. And
all these things are, you know, changeable in the set design.
yeah, it all moves out, we can paint it and do whatever.
This moves, we have a rail up there, we can add backdrops. Like over the years, even like going back to the full sun content, there's actually a lot of pieces of content that were shot right here.
Really?
Yeah, we'll just have a set designer come in here and just revamp it to whatever, you know, we need it or want it to be. And, you know, we have access to be able to do that. So it's a lot easier when, you know, when we are filming stuff. This thing has actually came way more valuable than, you know, what I would have thought it to be in the beginning stages.
I was gonna say, this is definitely like super clutch to have just in your warehouse, dude. Like you can literally just shoot basically whatever you want in the sense of your own warehouse.
Yeah, you can make a whole mini world right here. And yeah, they do it, whether it's for our brands or, you know, we've shot for other people here as well. We don't really like rent it out. It's all just like stuff for our projects. But yeah, it is a nice luxury for sure.
Cool, so then you got this white backdrop. I can already see the colors.
Oh, this has been around forever too. Take a lot of like model shots for e-com and get it on the website, product shots, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Again, it's especially in Los Angeles, saving damn time. Traffic, that's a huge one. So we really have it set up in here. Whether we need to shoot video, we can do it right there. If we need to shoot, you know, still photos, we can do it right here. So really designed it out to be able to hit every single step to, you know, from idea all the way to creation and going to a point of sale.
That's dope, bro. You can definitely tell you guys are, you know, integrated to at least do everything in house. You know, it's like
that's the goal.
I think that's definitely what you guys have on most people is I feel like a lot of people have to outsource certain things, and then maybe that's where they have to, you know, use a lot of their money for, and you guys can just do it in house.
Exactly. So yeah, we'll bring the talent into here to do it. You know, it makes our life a lot easier, and definitely saves costs over the years. I mean, we've used this hundreds and hundreds of times at this point.
Definitely beats going and renting a space for a couple $100 for
sure,
thing,
yeah,
you know?
that too.
Well, it's just a hangout spot. I don't know there's much to show there.
This is just a Sunday little vibe hangout.
We don't really know what we're gonna fully do with this.
So I'm looking at some boxes right here. These look pretty detailed, you know. I'm guessing these are some like influencer marketing boxes. What are we looking at?
That is a great idea, but these specifically were not for influencer marketing. I mean, we can make those for clients or for ourselves, and you know, we have and we do, but these specifically were actually used for a China set that we made for this collection. The insert's not in this, but we had a foam insert, and then it came with 2 plates, a teacup, and I think like a saucer. We just wanted to make something that was completely off the mark. Like the collection's name was Born Broke, and then to have high-end China with it. But yeah, we actually gave these away. Like that's also part of our model too. We make a lot of stuff that like we won't go to a point of sale with. At least if we do, it's not a lot. And yeah, we really just give stuff away. Maybe too much stuff, honestly. We gave away, I think, 10 of them, and then we put up for sale on the remaining few, and they were gone pretty instantly.
How important are accessories to building a brand? Do you think that it's a important niche that people should look into?
Yeah, I think it depends. Like we get, and I learned this through the studio model. We get a lot of people that come to us and they want to operate in drop style. That's like the number one thing that we get to us. And we always say like, okay, like you're a business. Like, you know, if you're a tech company, what's your demand to have a drop style? And like with that in mind, we always say, you know, let's start with the garments, start with the soft goods, and kind of work your way up. So I think it depends on what stage you are as a business, but I think by putting out hard goods and accessories, it does show that, you know, you have more of a sophisticated, I feel like, build behind you, because not a lot of people can figure out how to make a t-shirt. Not a lot of people can figure out how to make a clock, you know? So
Or make a full China set.
or make a full China set. Yeah, exactly.
I think that's definitely like an evolution in a lot of these brands too. I think if you rewinded back however many years, I think very few people were even doing cut and sew at all. And everything was just printable. And then you start to see some of these brands like, oh, they made this crazy technical jacket, and that kind of set them apart. And now you're seeing it where, you know, these brands are able, a lot of these brands are doing cut and sew. And everybody's dropping cool jackets and sweaters and this and that. And then I think the hard goods and the accessories is kind of like another one that's like a little bit of a step up when you do see brands, like you see Supreme drop a, you know, whatever it is, a money gun. Then you start to, you know, you see brands start to make some of those hard goods and accessories, and then they jump a little bit of level into that, like, you know, I think that's kind of the evolution of it, is like the cut and sew, and now people are finding out a little bit how to make the hard goods and accessories too. But I think that's something that separated Full Send a lot. I think it's something that separates us a lot too.
You know, there's definitely been a transition into cut and sew that we've seen. You know, we get a lot of clients always asking, you know, can you guys make this shirt? Can you do cut and sew this and that? And it seems like that we have evolved kind of from printing. Now everyone wants the custom look, cut and sew. What do you see like future predictions look like? Like where do you see kind of fashion and maybe brand building transition in the next couple years? Like do you think accessories are kind of going to come back into fruition? I mean, Supreme definitely led the charge in that in their earlier years. You know, everyone was collecting all the Supreme collectibles. What do you think like brands should be looking at in the future?
I don't know. I think there's a lot of things are going digital, right? I think maybe hard goods and accessories. Maybe I'm biased by saying this because our brands have a lot of like, you know, nostalgic type of energy where we do a lot of things inspired by like 90s, early 2000s. And we find a lot of like, you know, that moment in time, or just like, you know, Jesse just went out and bought like an old CD player and a bunch of CDs. So it's like, maybe we come out with a CD player, you know, like, so I think it's, maybe I'm biased in saying it, but I think with everything going digital, maybe there's a reflection that goes back to like physical, and people maybe not getting the use out of it, but it's like, you know, it's like everybody on eBay right now buying VHS tapes and CDs because it's like, oh, it's like a little piece of history, and maybe it's just a shelf piece. So maybe it's a little bit of that, but I mean, of course, I think there's a huge push for sustainabilities, and you guys probably know better than I do, but you know, the evolution of materials, I'm sure we'll get more and more either far away from sustainability where everything's fake, or people actually caring about the sustainability. I don't know.
Sustainability is definitely on like a make or break right now, you know, like people are either going to dive headfirst into it, or it's just going to be too expensive and then they're going to go the China route. I think you gave some very valuable advice that might be important to some people. You know, the nostalgic vibe and feel is definitely coming back. A lot of people are looking into kind of bringing back that sense. A lot of people are relating back to like the nostalgic vibe. They're kind of lost and confused in this current world that we're living in right now. There's just a lot of stimulation, and people like to find safety in what, like, you know, they kind of grew up with and were comfortable around. I think that it is currently a trend in 2024. A lot of people are going back to nostalgia. I think that's something that people like don't really recognize, but it's a very big trend right now.
It could be the same situation as like the sustainability thing, where it's like you either dive head first into it or you don't. It's like this digital world, it's like people want to escape. So like, do they escape into like this weird metaverse and put on goggles and they're not around anybody? Or they go back into like the physical world because that's like what they are hungry for.
Going upstairs. Oh, wow. Completely different vibe. You walk in here, you're like ready to go. You're awake. That's what it feels like to me.
You catch ideas in here.
Yeah.
This is where we spend all our time. This is where the actual work gets done, is up here. You know, we have our squad meetings here. We're plotting, you know, this year's merchandise, next year's merchandise. But everything revolving up here is about our internal brands. This is athletic line that's coming out. So yeah, this will be another extension of the umbrella, really playing into the repositioning of the asterisks, but still something that's minimal.
Does this correlate with your guys' Sunday run club thing that I just recently saw?
Yeah, so I mean, the run club was, and even this was inspired, you know, all of us at the end of the day are pretty health conscious, and, you know, we were all just ripping runs, and then it was, let's invite some friends, and then, you know, go public with it with Jesse, and now it's just been growing and growing. But I mean, yeah, this is going to launch too, so, you know, the idea with that is we'll probably gift a lot of this stuff to the run club when it comes out. So yeah, we're excited to just, you know, network with people that are health conscious, and like, you know, rock this on the daily, because I mean, there's a lot of people out there that stay living in athleisure wear. So again, it's just opening up another lane and another vertical that doesn't compete with, other IP that we have here.
What does health mean to the Sunday boys? I feel like a lot of people miss out on that. They slack on their health. I think it's important, and I think a lot of people, don't really realize it. So it's nice to see you guys kind of like really play into that lane. You have the run club, you're making an athleisure line. What's your why?
In terms of myself, as I said, my background's in medicine, and I was even in medical school getting a master's in nutrition. So my understanding of it and what it does to you on a longevity standpoint, it's so instrumental of being able to just operate at a high level and be able to even function in this space for me. I mean, I think the big thing though is also on Jesse's side, seeing where he was living an entirely unhealthy lifestyle, turned it around over the last 2 years, and like now his mental space is so much clearer that he understands health now, he understands dieting now, and he understands exercising and sleep. Those are all 3 categories that he was just completely neglecting in his life. So, as he got a grasp of that and is able to manage that in his life, like he wants to inspire other people to be like, hey, don't neglect these things. It makes all the difference in the world. It's everything that we have baked into this right now. So we wanted to, put something out that represents it. That's the boot. So, following our model of everything drops in the Sunday branding before any other branding gets done, any Bloody Sunday or any client can use it. That's the rendition on the boot. So usually we drop everything like tonal like this, but in instances like that, we like to play around with it. We're still like messing around and what does it look like when it comes out? So that's what the designer came up with. It's in sampling phase now, and I think within the next probably 3 weeks we'll have boot in hand.
How far out are you guys on product development? What does that look like? Are you designing for 2025 right now, or are we still kind of filling out the fall collection?
This is to the end here of 2024, but all of this is 2025. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we do design out pretty far out because you got to think of all the steps that go into it. I mean, it's obviously the product creation, and then on top of that, getting the product in here, and then on top of that, you have to put together the marketing plan. So you obviously want to tease something, start building the hype, especially with drop style. Ideally, we would like a month, but even like 2 weeks, we can make it happen. So step 1 is design, having it approved. Step 2, sampling. Step 3, getting some TOPs, and then into marketing. So we're not perfect on that. It's something that we steady work on, try getting ahead. That's a constant conversation and battle, but yeah, if you have the capital to get ahead, you have the team that can get you ahead, your life will be much easier.
Definitely a work in progress, especially with us being so young. Our first drop was October of last year, so it's definitely been like a little bit of a learning curve for us too, just to make sure we understand that it all starts with design, and if we don't have proper time to like create a marketing plan that's like intentional and highlights what we actually want to highlight and get across to people when they see it, a collection, definitely been a learning curve, but we're getting ahead of it now.
I feel like it's kind of probably a shock getting into the more corporate, like bigger scale type of things. I mean, you look at Nike and stuff like that, they're designing like 2 years plus out, and it's just insane to think that they're predicting and setting the trends like years ahead of what they're even like, what you even see right now, like they're already 2 years, 3 years out on designs. So I feel like that's kind of a shock, coming into it, like realizing that that's kind of the standard,
Yeah, I mean, companies like that, I feel like it's not even necessarily predicting, they're making the trend, which is insane when you get to that level. I mean, that's obviously, I feel like, a dream to be a brand that has so much command in the space and, can make those decisions. And that's, obviously we're influenced and every brand is influenced by certain things, but, we try to be innovative and, create different ideas and concepts that come out that, maybe haven't been touched before.
So what's like a dream collab that you guys have personally, or just like maybe you guys have one as a whole?
We recently went to the licensing expo and started conversations with a lot of really cool ones. A lot again in like nostalgia space, whether it's like old toy brands or things surrounding that. I mean, for us, I'm sure Jesse's background, I'm sure he would say like, a Supreme or a Nike or one of those if we're going real big. Thus far we did Zippo, we've got Realtree, we've got Lugs, and we started conversations with Bobcat and Lugs. I don't know how much of that we can say, but for me, I don't know.
What about you, Josh?
For me, I always say that I think North Face. Like, I think our green popping on some outdoor wear, especially like with how technical their pieces are.
I think I'd rather have Patagonia.
Oh,
I think outdoor wear with our color palette, like mixed into it, I think it looks so swaggy.
You can see some of this stuff too.
Yeah.
This is some of like the early athletic stuff. Still in sampling and all that, but some of it's fine.
This is all for the run club.
This will be for the whole athletic line. So that's all that, and then this is the Realtree stuff, which is pretty unique. They never kind of let anybody, when you go to Realtree, they've got however many patterns that you can license out, and they've never let anybody manipulate those patterns because that's their IP, you know. And we were lucky enough, they let us like manipulate it to, we like inverted the camo. Arya did, I don't know where he's at, but so it's something new. I don't think anybody's ever done that with Real Tree, so we're stoked about it.
The room is white, very bright. Is that intentional? What does like kind of white mean to you guys? I know you mentioned full send was the palette, you know, black and red, and then, you know, we're just in like a very white room. I mean, there's a lot of like psychology and mental stuff that goes into that.
For sure. I mean, I think there's varying opinions on it based on who you talk to, but I mean, yeah, this room used to be like gray carpet like you saw downstairs. Like we replaced all the ceiling tiles, couch was red, table was red, you know, everything's changed in here.
It seems very intentional.
If you ask me, it makes the room feel bigger. If we want to get into it, maybe it's opens your ideas, you know, there's more room to think. I like it bright like it is in here. The designers, you know, they hole into this office and turn off all the lights, and they're just kind of, you know, cavemen and they're vampires. But, you know, I think it's to each his own. However somebody works and can get their jobs done, more power to it. So,
and of course having the color pop against it too stands out. But I mean, honestly, when we made this white, like the color wasn't even a thing. And then once the color came and we started introducing the first samples into it, we're just like, wow, it pops off on white very, very nicely. So yeah, it's a nice touch. But yeah, I think it keeps you awake, keeps you energized, keeps you engaged. I mean, I have a big ass window in my office, so like I like all the light possible. Keep the circadian rhythm in check.
I'm a firm believer of and again, far different from maybe some of the designers and the creatives, but like if you can declutter your space, you kind of declutter your mind. If there's not a lot of things, there's more room for thought.
I haven't noticed as strongly as I've noticed here, just kind of like the attention to how you approach like your health, your mind, you know, like all like the kind of like psychological aspects that you guys bring to work every day.
I think it's all just a little piece of our own identity going into the brand at the end of the day, which I think in terms of longevity, we're playing the long game here. It's like, it's not a 1 year play, it's not a 2 year play. It's, you know, how big can we build this over time? So, and I think you got to pay attention to the little details to get there.
How strong you can build a culture, you know?
Yeah, culture, community, everything. You know, everybody can just slap a logo on a t-shirt, but you know, what's your why? What's the story behind it? So that's really what we focus in on.
What would be a piece of advice for someone who is kind of like barely starting off and kind of wanting to get into the space?
I get that all the time on LinkedIn. We get bombarded with people trying to come up in LinkedIn, and I answer from time to time, but one of the things that I always say is like, it's going to take time, but you got to meet that person that's going to allow you to take a chance on you and allow you to break into the space, because I do really feel like networking is everything. And so, you know, whether you're taking that job to be the assistant or, you know, just to get your foot in the door, you know, just shadowing a graphic designer, whatever it is that you want, you got to start somewhere to build that first connection and then just keep piggybacking on that. And not to say that takes 1 week, 2 months, that, you know, that could take 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. So I think the power of networking, that's what I've learned since I transitioned from medicine to this.
And it's okay to work for free.
It's okay to work for free.
Because that knowledge you're going to gain from that experience it's invaluable. It's going to take you to where you need to go.
I view it as a man that was in school all the time. I paid to learn, so to not have to pay to learn, at least it's free. You know, it's just a matter of your time. So I feel like, yeah, if you're really taking it serious and you know you're thinking years out and you want to accumulate that knowledge, like work for free, pick people's brain, be annoying to an extent to that person to try, you know, getting what you need out of them, information wise.
And Tyler, what would you say?
If this is something that you're interested in, then find somebody that is doing something that inspires you or you're interested in and try to learn from them. But I think for me, whether it's creative studio, whether it's whatever, I think it's, for me, what led me here and what I tell people is just like curiosity and wanting to learn about new things. So whatever it is that piques your curiosity and is like, gets you stoked to like, you know, go to your desk and do something, I think exploring that as much as you can. And just learning, be a sponge.
Explain how you guys release blanks. Like what goes into that whole process in the sense of a Sunday blank?
First starts with anything else, inspiration of, you know, what the piece is. So, you know, usually it's out there shopping, you know, vintage shopping, whatever it may be, finding a couple silhouettes, and then you start the reverse engineer process. You know, we start getting samples in of that, they tweak it and they tweak it and they tweak it. And a lot of these samples that we have, like, I don't know what the number would be on, but, you know, some are north of, you know, 10, 20 different, you know, renditions to it. You know, some they nail on the first try, but, and even, you know, getting it and we drop it in the green. Every time that we drop drop it, comes out in the green, we don't release it again. So we want it to be 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road. Oh, that piece, you know, that Sunday hoodie that first dropped in the catalog, you know, 10 years ago, you know, hopefully it has some value, whether sentimental or, you know, monetary value to it. But yeah, to keep the hype on it, keep the demand on it, we wanted to also make it more complicated for ourselves, because now we got to figure out how to make it in this green across, you know, all different mediums. So, I mean, it's not just soft goods, it's hard goods as well. So, you know, you're dealing with metals, you're dealing with plastics, you're dealing with rubbers. You know, a lot of these that you're seeing here are samples, and you can even see a gradient of the different greens that sit here. And it's like, or maybe you can't, and I would just see it so often, but like we'll get samples like that bag down there. You know, that's like first take sample on it, and it'll just come off just so bad. So it's like, even in that situation, like, you know how the sampling game is. It's like, now we have to wait again for, you know, X number of weeks. So when we were building out this brand, that's why, you know, we started the studio, but we didn't launch actual merchandise for like, you know, about 18 months or so. A lot of it was going into, you know, the back end in terms of getting all these products right, because we had to drop them. We had to build out the catalog to have enough options to allow Bloody Sunday to grow off of. We have a bunch at this point.
Probably over 100 for sure.
Over 100. We don't have them all up for wholesale or be utilized by our clients, but it's just a matter of like, anything that's in there, if you do come to us, like we can make that. So, but the end goal is obviously, you know, hopefully we get to that point that, you know, we have wholesale accounts and, you know, you can use our blank, but you know, that's a long-term goal.
What does it look like, you know, if someone wanted to use your guys' blanks? I know you say you're not really fully into wholesale, you know, but if someone wanted to work with Sunday, someone wanted to use these silhouettes, what does that look like?
So minimums, we keep our minimums pretty high for the most part. Like if we're gonna do something on the hoodie or we're gonna do something on the t-shirt, like we like to keep it around 500 right now. So we don't have a lot of people that come in and use it, but we also, depending on the brand, you know, we'll go a little bit under that. MOQs are at 500, you know, it's also just a matter of, it takes so much time to get them in and delivered, and then we're managing our own inventory right now. So that's really the game that we're playing, that it's like, we don't want to overextend ourselves with our inventory and we can't sell. So we're still figuring that out, but yeah, pricing, again, is just influence on how many units we're doing, just like anything else. I would say it's not the most expensive blank in the world, but it's also not the cheapest. So, you know, I feel like a specific taste, you know, is your brand streetwear forward, because people say they want to come on our blanks, and then, you know, this man will do a deep dive into their branding, and they're like, and then be like, I don't know if a streetwear fit is, you know, good for, you know, your telecommunication company or whatever it is. So, you know, a lot of the time people will come for our blanks, and, you know, we respectfully, you know, ask them to use another blank. Like, we think that's more beneficial for them.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, anything else is hoodies, t-shirts, hats, zip up hoodies, crew necks. Those are the main ones that we're rocking with right now in terms of like actually putting the blanks out that you can get on. Anything else that we've made, like if you go into like the bags or the skateboards or the cups or the clocks, or, you know, anything on the hard good accessory, you know, that's really, again, we're not sitting on inventory of that, so we just play that, you know, whatever the factory MOQ is, you know, that's clients MOQ as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't say like 500 isn't like standard across the board. You know, we'll work with you. There's wiggle room. If you're gonna do a couple pieces, we can go down to a couple hundred, few hundred. It just depends. And we still got to keep factories happy, and we got to make money for ourselves as well, and also make sure that the client is making money. I think that's something that separates us too. Is, you know, a lot of people will go and hey, I want to make 500 of this, and they have no power to sell it, and we'll be like, you understand that, right? Like, you know, don't get mad when you know you're left over with 400 hoodies. You know, so. We're very hands-on, we're very transparent with all the clients, and try to advise them the best that we can so that they're happy and they come back and we can help them grow a business.
Yeah, you guys care about the clients, you know, you don't just care about collecting the check at the end of the day. Wholesalers, you know, and blank companies specifically, they don't do that. You know, sometimes they're giving you a lot of messed up merch, you know, the dye's not the best and they're just shipping it out, you know, but you guys, you're turning some people away just because you don't think it's the proper fit. And I think that's really rare. You know, you don't really see that too often. People actually caring about the client and not just trying to collect a check.
I think that's because we attach on and go through the journey, you know, with the client all the way to a point of sale. And, you know, we'll even advise them and give them free game on like the marketing side of things too. We always say we don't charge a consulting fee, but by coming and working with us, like, you get free game. You know, we're going to tell you what we think is best because we want you to win. I do think it's important. That's, you know, something that him and I discuss all the time in terms of like, you know, making sure that the client is happy. And we just view it as like, we are business owners and sell merchandise. So I feel like it's such a different perspective than if you just go to a studio and all they do is just create, and once they hand it off to you, like their hands are done. Like, we care throughout the whole entire process.
We've been on the other side of that transaction where, you know, you leave upset, and luckily we've been around it long enough to where we've learned it, and we're not trying to fuck anybody over. So we want to make everybody happy.
That wraps up our tour of Sunday Studios. Thank you guys for having us. It was a pleasure being able to see the space and see what you guys are working on.
It's dope to be able to see what a relatively small studio, there's only a few of them, how big of a brands they've built here, right? Like a Bloody Sunday, some kids, right? Like, comment, subscribe, let us know who you guys want us to see next.
Appreciate you guys stopping in.
Bang, bang.
All right, and then,
I don't wanna fall and miss my way. Sometimes you gotta stop and find your place.